My name's Jerry Kemp. I am the operations manager at Jantz Fly. I fit into the company in that I married Ken Jantz's oldest daughter, Shanna. She and I got married in 1996. Gradually, over time, Ken had me come up here and start working with him at the Davis facility. What I do day to day is keep people on task, doing their job, and making sure that all the equipment is running at its correct performance. Here at Jantz, everybody is a master of a lot of different activities, so I'm a maintenance man one day and a HR person the next. Just the fact that sometimes people require different things to make them successful. I kind of consider my job to be removing the roadblocks that people have thrown in front of them that keep them from being successful at what they're doing on their daily basis. I would say the biggest thing that I bring to the table is I've got the ability to do CNC programming. So whether we're programming knife blades to be cut on a laser or guards to be machined on a vertical machining center, I usually am one of the first steps into that activity and generating code that will allow the CNC machines to run successfully.
So Kevin here is getting ready to go ahead and cut some blades for our production line on our 3200 watt laser. It's going to cut that sheet in about 7 minutes. It'll be about 30 blades. It'll just do this time after time after time. This can cut a couple thousand blades a week easily, just with one shift.
If you look at what we do with water jets, which is fundamentally a simplified cutting machine, but we're able to cut almost anything that we need at any given time. It is CNC controlled, which is to say that we put characteristics in there telling the water jet to cut certain lengths and certain radiuses that will enable us to have everything from a Damascus blade to guards to anything that we choose to want to do.
All right, so Zach here is getting ready to run the water jet, and he's going to be cutting some Damascus knife blanks. Right now, this current project will cut 6 blanks out of a billet of Alabama Damascus.
About 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes to cut out a full billet. So six blades.
When you look at going down the process after we have cut a blade out, you'll find that we do a lot of surface prep work to enable blades to be finished. A surface grinder, which we have numerous surface grinders in the facility, they're ran every day. I mean, it's a constant activity of running surface grinding because we are trying to prep the surface on blades to be clean and more or less what the customer is looking for.
So surface grinding is one of the more important things that we do here for precision ground stock. Zach here is just in the midst of doing a precision ground test to determine the thickness of the product and whether or not it meets tolerance. So Zach is attaching the product to a magnetic chuck. He's checking to make sure that there's no discontinuities in the stock itself. He's bringing down the wheel until it touches off on the steel. So that was the point in which he first got a spark. And he's putting it into automatic mode. And it'll take the stock off as he has planned. So he has put in that he needs a certain number of thousands taken off the stock to meet spec. And the machine will just increment down until he gets there.
The next step in the process is going back and actually putting the primary bevel on a blade. We do this in an automated fashion for the majority of the blades that we have come through the facility.
Okay, so this is a knife grinding machine, so it's putting the primary bevel on production blades. So this is not a custom knife making machine. It is a production blade. It is set up so that the side opposite is cutting the left-hand side of your profile of your primary bevel, and then it comes over to this side, flips over 180 degrees and cuts the primary bevel on the right-hand side. So on a small blade, you can have a blade come off of this finished about every 60 seconds, maybe even 50 seconds. On a really large blade, it can go up to about, a minute and a half to 2 minutes. What we're doing right now is a medium-sized blade, which is probably a little bit over a minute coming off, so a blade every minute is coming off finished. It is coming off semi-finished with a high polish on it. The only thing that happens after this is it goes out and it is profiled and sharpened.
We do have a master knife smith that creates blades. He will do blades that are not as easily done on automated equipment. After the blades have the primary bevel on them, they are ready at that point to be sharpened, and any final finishing before they're packaged and made ready for the customer. All the blades have what we would term as a fairly sharp finish on them. As a part of the knife making activities, we create all of our Corby nuts and rivets in-house. They're made on a Swiss turn CNC machining center.
This is specifically used to make all of our what we call small parts. Loveless rivets, Corby rivets, any types of barrels or pivot pins or pivot barrels or anything of that size. So small size, small tapping, and high precision. Okay, so right now we're running mini Corby rivets, which are 3/16 diameter, nickel silver. They run 24 hours a day, and it's very, very consistent manufacturing product. Something that all of our knife makers are used to is Corby rivets, which, as you can see, we run by the thousands. These are brass 5/16 Corby rivets. Also, these are going to run usually a couple thousand a day. They'll run into the night, lights out. It's a pretty standard activity. It's the reason you see, multiple thousand in this small bin. But we can go from one to the next and just keep running whatever we need to keep the customer satisfied.
The ability of making these in-house allows us to both make multiple sizes. We can adjust materials where they can be made out of steel, they can be made out of copper, they can be made out of brass. And because we do it in-house, it's just a matter of pulling out one stock and replacing it with another. We also make knife sharpening wheels. As I talked about before, everything's based off of CNC control, so we will start off with our raw material, place it on a CNC router. That router will go in and precisely cut a round wheel with a hole in the center. When I say precisely, it is very precise. Even though they're cutting a wooden paper product, it is still held to within a couple of thousandths on both the diameter on the OD and the ID of the hole.
So what Manny's doing here is he's setting up the CNC router to cut wheels, and right now we're going to have someone turn on the vacuum table, and he's going to start. It's about 72, and it takes about 2 hours.
Once that is done, we have several people that are skilled in both creating, gridded wheels as well as slotted wheels that will allow any individual wanting to use these to sharpen their own blades. One of the larger parts of our business is to get steel in a way that allows custom knife makers to make their own products.
James right now is running a 2x72 grinder like most knife makers are used to using. It's important to make sure that our customers know that we're doing things to make sure that they are not getting their fingers cut on burrs on the edge of steel and things like that. So when we go through and do a precision grind, or even when it's just coming off the water jet, we'll go in and remove the burrs off the edge. James is kind of showing that even though it's a low-tech activity, it's still very important to the overall scope for the company.
So we sell steel both as a mill finished as well as removing that mill finish with a Blanchard grinder, which is a rotary grinder. And then there are certain customers out there that would actually prefer a precision finish. And a precision finish is plus or minus 1/1000ths and a high degree of surface finish, cleanliness. Our job here is to supply the customers with a high quality product. So James Supply is really about supplying knife blades to everyone from the hobbyists to people that just are interested in building a knife for themselves.